This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of
Pero Let Me Tell You. Okay, because these new mic stands, while they may be more advanced, I mean, I'm hunching over.
Maybe it's better. Maybe it's more ergonomically sound for sound.
I don't know about that. But I like our older mic stands better.
The ones that are a little taller.
Yes.
Yes. These are like Skilo.
I wish it was a little bit taller. Wow, whoever gets that reference. Well, no,
It's
people our
age.
age will get that reference.
Yeah.
The kids won't.
No, not the children.
So, are we recording?
Yes, we are. We are recording.
Okay, there you see, every now and then you really do catch me.
It's my way.
So, welcome everybody to episode 237. 238.
You were I thought you were going to get it. I thought you were going to get it.
238. ¿Cómo está todo el mundo? Happy Friday, everybody.
Everybody's doing good.
Welcome
It's
to
Friday.
Pero Let Me Tell You.
It's Friday. Aquí en Miami hay una brisita.
Está boat show.
A boat show is this weekend. That's
The boat
right.
show is this weekend.
So is the Coconut Grove Arts Festival.
But the difference between the boat show and the Coconut Grove Arts Festival is traffic.
That is true.
Because, Miami Beach, I think a lot of people forget Miami Beach is an island and it has
one way in
ingress and egress,
out, yeah.
right? And yeah, el tráfico del show de bote, del boat show es una,
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Have you ever gone to the boat show?
Not officially.
I've gone to the boat show. Did you go to the unofficial boat show?
Well, because you know how they have
Chaco de Asahuesera?
you know how they have like the boats all set up, So I didn't go to like an official like boat show thing. I just kind of like walked and saw the boats.
Okay, but it's either the boat show or it's not. We were talking about in front of the Fontainebleau.
Yes, where they line them up in the
that's
port
part of the boat show.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you have been. That is part of the real legit boat show.
Then yes.
Didn't you feel poor?
I did, and that's why I don't go back.
It's like, you want to feel poor really quick, go to the boat show.
I don't like feeling poor or ugly, so...
Okay, they don't have, 24-footer ocean craft.
No.
They have,
lancha, like cruise ships, basically.
Cuando tú necesitas un capitán.
It's out of my price range.
Yeah.
Yeah. The minute that you need, a captain, you can't afford it. Just keep moving. Keep moving.
You can't afford it. So yes, everybody, welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You. And if you are in Miami, enjoy the boat show and the Coconut Grove Arts Festival.
Yep.
Which that gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It does. But you know what doesn't get bigger? We have more of them, but it's still manageable size as our pop-ups.
Oh, yes.
So this Saturday, feel free to join us at Seba Wine Bar aquí en Huechete. There's no art show happening at Seba, but there's karaoke.
Yes.
Which is an art form.
It's performance art.
It's performance art. You may see, maybe we'll sing. We don't know.
You don't know? I don't know about that. Okay, I'm actually going to go I need something to put that mic stand on.
All right, hold on. Let's find something for you to put the mic stand on.
What can I put it on?
Hold on, let's find something.
Wait. This box of liquid death will work.
It will work, yes, actually.
This segment is not brought to you by Liquid Death.
It is not.
But it can be.
But it can be.
I need to take a picture of this. So.
All right.
So anyway.
I will grab a screenshot of you on the Liquid Death.
That sounds like if I'm on lava. Wait, hold on. Let me see that picture. Because you have whatever my... Okay, that's acceptable. Because whatever my bad side is, you always seem to.
But the thing is, you don't have a bad side, baby.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Anyway, oye, ¿qué tú me dices?
Oh, God.
De todos estos platos voladores que hay.
I say bring it. I say
Doesn't
yes.
it sound much better in Spanish? In English, unidentified flying object. In Spanish, esto es un platillo volador.
Yeah, but I don't think a flying plate would have the same impact.
Right. So, for those of you who didn't know, remember the Chinese balloon at 40,000 feet? There was now another unidentified. Well, the balloon was identified, but now there was an unidentified flying object. I believe it was in the West Coast.
Was it the West Coast or was it the East Coast?
Well, it was over Canada and the United States.
Okay, yeah.
But this was like 8,000 feet.
Yeah.
At an altitude of 8,000 feet, which is very dangerous because that can be in the way of any flight.
Yeah.
So what's up with all these flying objects?
I hope it's aliens.
You do?
I so do. You know what? It's time. We can't control things for ourselves. Let somebody else take the wheel.
Ay. Somehow that's going to end up with us paying more fees in something.
You know what? That's true. That's going to be more mystery fees for mobile.
Yeah. And then, now there's going to be like an alien
overlord
encounter fee. I don't know.
You know what? They're going to charge more for luggage somehow.
Yeah. But see,
JetBlue, forget it.
Semi-seriously speaking, I mean, the government hasn't really said what it is.
They don't know.
Okay, pero ¿qué? ¿Es un cohete? ¿Es un pajarriaco? ¿Es un, I don't know.
That'd be great if it's just a giant flamingo.
It's a stork. A stork. La cigüeña.
La cigüeña.
La cigüeña.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, what is it? Is it?
I think there are UFOs.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
And I think this may be one of them.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that, okay, but don't you think that if this was well, no, not really. Who knows what the government would do?
Well, no, they wouldn't say it because that would cause mass hysteria.
Okay. If they came out on TV tomorrow and said that there were UFOs,
right.
Would you hashtag mass hysteria? Would you go into mass hysteria?
I wouldn't, because I'd be happy. But I could see how that could turn everything you think you know on its ear. I mean, for Christ's sake, we can't even agree on a goddamn vaccine.
That is true. Somehow they will make this political.
Somehow this will become like, because, the right wing doesn't want us to have access to them because they're going to give us medicines. And then it's, the left side doesn't want us to have access to them because, they have weaponry. So it's going to be a thing.
Right. And then it's
going to be a thing.
That Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to come out and say, "See, I told you, they're the ones who were managing the space lasers. I told you." I told you.
And then somebody's going to create a deep fake of the aliens wearing yarmulkes, and it's going to
turn into an anti-Semitic thing. And then we played this movie before.
Exactly.
Oh,
and that didn't end well.
Yeah,
it ended with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. I mean, where does it go?
Independence Day is such a great movie.
It really is.
It still holds up after so many years.
I never saw the second one. Did you?
No.
I never had any interest.
No. Wait, what was the second one about?
I don't know. More aliens, like 20 years later. One of the Hemsworths was in it.
Oh, yeah, but this was like new. This was like
this was like maybe 5-10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking in the 90s.
No. Like recentish.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that in terms of sequels of big 90s movies, do you know I actually don't think that Speed 2 is that bad? It's just that Speed 1 was so good.
You don't think it's that bad, or it's just that you had low expectations?
I think that movie got beyond trashed.
Okay.
It's not as good as the first one. It's nowhere near. I'm not even saying it's a good movie. It's not, because if you think about it, the first movie... The concept of the first Speed, 75% of the movie was on a bus.
Right. So it has to go fast.
And somehow you were like on the edge of your seat, no pun intended, right? And it was super exciting, and yet the main story arc was in a static place. You were on a bus.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas the second one, I understand what they tried to do. It was the 90s. It was a sequel. They wanted to go bigger, faster.
Right.
Cruise ship.
Well, they didn't go faster because they went with a cruise ship.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, they wanted to just go overboard. Again, no pun intended. Wow. In every way, shape, or form. And yes, it's nowhere near as good as a good one, as a first one from just a movie perspective. But I think it's fun.
Oh, I mean, look, there are worse movies out there.
Yeah, but I just think that movie they say ruined what's his name,
Jason Patrick,
his career. Which is it's interesting. It didn't ruin her career, but it ruined his.
You're right. Yeah. After that, what did he do?
I don't know.
Listeners, if you know, please let us know.
Let us know what did.
I mean, we could go on IMDb, but we're not going to.
We're not going to because we're recording.
Right.
Pero bueno. Anyway, watch Speed 2. and
let us know what else Jason Patrick was in afterwards.
And I hope the aliens come and
I'm cool with it. I don't think the aliens are going to show up and just start destroying shit. I mean, look, it's like everything. There are good aliens and bad aliens, right? But I don't think they're going to travel all this way after getting the signal for I Love Lucy to destroy us.
I know. I mean,
they might be upset that Lucy's dead.
Yeah. Because who knows how time is measured in there.
Right.
Right. And, and I would be the person who would tell them, hey, alien, not all of us think you're bad. E.T.,
That's true.
Gave me all the feels when I was 3 years old.
And Mac and me.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all bad.
No.
And what's that alien from?
Roger from American Dad?
Yes.
Maybe they all just want to do different personas.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. Okay, then we're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So anyway, moving right along, this past week was the Super Bowl.
Yes, which you and I watched together, and thank you to those who purchased Bim Bam Pollo.
We always watch it together. Our group of friends get together. We have a tradition. It's so weird to be. So we're recording in daylight, people. It's so weird to look out the window and it's daytime. It's
it's a duskish time.
Whatever. So era Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
And, like in any Super Bowl, people were talking about the halftime show after, nitpicking everything about the halftime show, about the performers, so and so. So this year, as most of you all know, Rhianna performed the halftime show.
Now, she's the lady who owns Fenty, right?
You think?
Right? She's that billionaire or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Rihanna. Right. And some people thought it was like the worst performance ever. Some people thought that she totally owned it and it's one of the best performances and she killed it and she's a legend, a diva, a lady boss, an icon, blah, blah, blah. So I'm a little bit I'm not in the extremes in both ways, but what did you think?
So I will say this. First and foremost, let's give credit where credit is due. The woman is noticeably pregnant. I don't know how many months. She's noticeably pregnant and she was, levitating on those platforms and stuff. So kudos to her for doing, for doing a full-on Super Bowl performance while she's pregnant. As anybody who's ever met a pregnant woman knows, 90% of the day they're tired. They don't feel like doing things. I mean, it's a totally understandable position to be in. So kudos to her for just barreling through. But with all of that said, I found it to be just very lethargic in terms of her performance. The dancers were like at a 20 and she was at like a 7. And you said something actually where, while we were watching it and you said, I don't really remember ever seeing Rihanna do a performance where I'm like blown away, where I was like, wow, se la comió. So I went and I looked up a couple of old performances. Actually, I think it was like 2 or 3 of her Brits performances, the Brit Awards. And yeah, she was never. She's
not a dancer.
It's not even that she's not a dancer. It's just that she always is just kind of like there. And I don't, and I'm gonna expand upon that because I read. Again, right after the Super Bowl, everybody was talking about it. Everybody was writing like think pieces about Rihanna's performance all of a sudden. Somebody said something that she was giving the ultimate in what she's known for, which is her I don't give a fuck attitude, right? And as I was watching the other performances, I was like, you know what? That is kind of her thing. But I realized something about myself in doing that. I don't care for people who show up trying to make it look like they don't care.
Mm-hmm. You don't care for the people that don't care.
I don't think it's cool.
And I did read that comment, by the way, too, as well about I don't give a fuck.
I don't think it's cool to show up and just be like, whatever, I don't care. Yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, great. Thanks. Like, no, I want you to care. Like, I like a little try hard. I like Anne Hathaway. I like that whole thing of like, oh my God, I'm in the fucking Super Bowl. Like, yes, this is awesome. And I understand that when you're a brand and a persona, you have to thread that needle a little bit, right? But I think that's where I wind up having the opinion I have of her just coming across as a little lazy. I think it's because I personally don't mesh with what people, quote unquote, love about her on stage, which is that, I don't give a fuck attitude. No, I want you to give a fuck a little bit. Just a little. Right. Also, Rolling Stones, sorry, number 8, best Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that.
No, thank you.
So look, I don't think it was like the worst Super Bowl performance. I wouldn't put it in the latter half, in the latter end. I certainly would not put it in the top 10, the top half. I think she was very mid. As we say nowadays, I think she was very mid.
So you were whelmed.
As far as her, I don't give a fuck persona. I said that. I'm like, Rhianna, and it's not even a criticism of her style, because I like Rhianna.
Yeah.
I love her songs, and I like her. It's not even a criticism per se. It's just that, to me, the Super Bowl halftime show, especially what it's become in the last like 20 years, that is the top of the top. That is where you pull in the water, the wind, the fire,
yes, exactly. The helicopter.
Yes, that is where the helicopter. That is that moment, right? That is that moment.
There is no such thing as too much.
Right. There isn't. I mean, Diana Ross left on a helicopter, right? To me, that is when you pull all the stops. Now, I think aesthetically, those floating platforms were really cool.
Yeah.
As far as her being pregnant, I mean, look, we're men, so we don't know what that feels like. You know, different women, you know, because a lot of people were saying Beyonce's iconic performance of Love on Top at the VMAs, where she was like 5 months pregnant and she freaking killed it. And she didn't do a flip because there wasn't anybody there to catch her, and she killed it. Yeah. But that's Beyonce. Beyonce is a force of nature, and that is her style.
Right. Somebody else showed a video of Shakira, like I don't know how many months pregnant, doing similar.
Because Beyonce, whether you like her or not, she is the type of performer that leaves it all on the stage.
Right.
Like she doesn't give 100. She gives 200%.
Right.
Right. And Rihanna's. And again, I like Rhianna, so whenever in the past she's performed, I've always noticed, I'm like, Rihanna's not really a dancer. She's more of like, she goes with the flow and people dance around her and, you know, whatever and all that.
And also, even vocally, her songs don't really ask a lot.
Well, Chris Martin, who I love me some Chris Martin.
I think he's still suffering a little brain damage from his marriage
Did you see what Chris Martin wrote?
I think his conscious uncoupling has left him a little unconscious.
Chris Martin said, quote, "You have to be an idiot to not recognize that Rihanna is the greatest singer of all time." Now, in order for that to be true,
how many people would have had to die?
Well, those aliens that we talked about earlier had to have come and removed a large portion of the population. Because again,
starting with Ella Fitzgerald and
I
onward.
like Rihanna, right? Rihanna is one of these people that she's very much, and again, I don't mean it as a criticism. You know, she's built a brand.
She's a billionaire.
Fenty Beauty is unstoppable, and like the whole like loungewear that she
Savage
has
by Fenty.
Yes, I mean she's awesome. I'm not taking anything away from her. I do feel that so back to the Super Bowl performance, I thought it was very average. I was like whelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was like, okay.
That was a thing that happened.
That was that. She didn't sing Pon de Replay, which is like one of her best songs. She didn't sing Please Don't Stop the Music, which would have been an awesome song to do on the Super Bowl. She was like, meh. She opened up with Bitch Better Have My Money,
Can't
which
stand that song.
It's not even.
I hate that song.
It's not even whether you like a song or not. Again, I think to the Super Bowl, I understand that artists always have that, you know, that back and forth. That, oh my gosh, my songs.
When you have so many hits,
my songs that are the most popular are not my favorites. So you have especially somebody like a Madonna that for years didn't play on tour a lot of her greatest hits because I want to go with the songs that I like. Madonna, everybody wants you to see. Everybody wants you to perform Material Girl like a virgin and like a prayer. So please. I get that, right? The Super Bowl is not where you do that. The Super Bowl, you go and you do your most famous songs.
The Super Bowl is your greatest hits.
Right? Is your greatest hits. She did that. She sort of didn't do that. Whatever. It's fine. My biggest or more commentary about the Super Bowl show was the commentary itself, right? Mm-hmm. I feel that Rihanna, and fight me if you will on this one, there's celebrities that I think that the media sort of doesn't mess with them. And Rihanna's one of them. You know, just like Beyonce and Jay-Z are untouchable.
You're 100%.
I love 100%. Beyonce and Jay-Z. I mean, I am a Beyonce stan, 100%.
But yeah, you're just not allowed to say anything negative.
But any major criticism of them,
not even criticism, just saying something quote unquote negative.
And Rihanna is one of them, which good for her. If I was her, I wish I'd be that person, you know, too. That for whatever reason, the media kind of like, and even like the fandom or like the general populace, it's like, oh, you know, Rihanna kicks ass because you know what? I don't think that anyone that like watches Super Bowl halftimes, to refer to the Rolling Stone list, would say that out of all the Super Bowls that halftime shows, Rihanna's not number 8. Really?
Right.
Like, really? You know, that made me think of 2 years ago when The Weeknd did the Super Bowl, and obviously in 237 episodes, everybody knows that I love The Weeknd, and
like Abel,
I bow at the altar of Abel. I don't think his Super Bowl performance was one of the best ones. I wouldn't even put it in the top 15. I probably wouldn't even put it in the top 20. I would put it very mid. It was good. It was good. It wasn't boring. The end was really good when he did Blinding Lights with like the 400, dancers dressed like him. I thought that was very good. But I didn't end that show being like, wow.
If you weren't already a fan, you weren't going to leave that becoming a mega fan.
I didn't say he knocked my socks off.
Right.
But the year before when Shakira and J-Lo performed, everybody saw that and was like, holy shit. Wow.
Right.
That is what I want from a Super Bowl. That's, I think, what most people want from a Super Bowl.
Well, you also, if you're the halftime show, you're in a very odd position because if the first half of the game was great and like a nail biter, you have to keep that momentum. And if the first half of the game was boring, now you have to be the reason to get people excited.
And then to go back about like the criticism or lack thereof of Rihanna, like, it wasn't only Rolling Stone. Like, I read all these articles that were like, oh, she just went in there and kept it slow. And I'm like, if anybody else would have done that,
right?
I always tell you ask me this all the time, or people ask me, since I'm a big Mariah Carey fan, oh, would you want Mariah Carey to do the Super Bowl? I'm like, hell no. You know why? Because Mariah Carey's one of those artists that whatever she does, they're gonna shit on her.
Right.
They're gonna shit on her. Rihanna was lip syncing.
Noticeably.
Yeah, she was lip syncing, right? Which again,
I know that's common for the Macy's parade, but is that common for the Super Bowl?
Well, yes and no. I think some artists sing, some lip sync.
Okay.
This may break a lot of people's hearts, but Whitney Houston's iconic Star Spangled Banner was lip synced.
Yes.
Now she performed it live.
She re-recorded it.
She sang it live, and then that live version she did probably in a studio is what aired.
Right.
What she mimed.
Right.
Or mimed, I'm sorry, mimed. That's what they say in the UK. She mimed the song. That's what she lip synced to. So it was her own performance.
Right.
But a lot of them are lip synced, which is totally fine, which is totally okay. I'm not criticizing her for that. But I give the Mariah Carey reference because Mariah Carey comes on TV, and if there's any iota that she's lip syncing, acaban con
that's
ella,
it. She's done.
Right? So no, it's like I wouldn't want her to do the Super Bowl because they're gonna attack her and whatever she does. And then there's just some people that don't, because to say for there to be all these major publications saying that this was one of the best Super Bowl performances, it
makes me question.
It's like, okay, like, are we not able to critically and, objectively look at this? Because it wasn't horrible. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think she should be criticized for it. I don't think she should be like, oh, Rihanna sucked. But it wasn't one of the best ones. And I don't even mean that in a negative way. It just simply is not. When you have like U2's 2020, I'm sorry, 2002 Super Bowl, which is iconic. Prince.
Prince was number one on that
J-Lo and Shakira. When you have all these, like, Michael Jackson, all these people, and you're going to put Rihanna's performance there? Really? Like, pero bueno. Let's see who they... who I thought sucked in the halftime show? I thought was, like, not good either. It was Maroon 5.
Yeah.
And,
it just seemed messy.
You would think that Maroon 5 would. You know who I thought was fantastic in her halftime show, and I don't care for her, is Katy Perry. I'm not a big Katy Perry fan.
But Katy Perry brings that energy that her halftime show needs.
The same thing with Lady Gaga. I am not a huge fan of Lady Gaga, but when I saw Lady Gaga's halftime show, I'm like, she jumped off the stadium. like, oh my God. Like, that is what I want. I want, if the energy's here, I want it double. Like, and that's what a lot of them give, because that is there's no bigger platform than that.
Right. I mean, it's international. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, not only in the United States, I mean, I guess if you sing for like the World Cup, but even like the performances in the World Cup, I feel don't have the pressure,
they don't have the platform
of the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Because when you have these like, I'll never forget when Madonna did the Super Bowl in 2012. I saw an interview of her on Jay Leno, and she was like, "This is like the most nervous I've ever been." And this, you're talking about a
Madonna,
veteran,
right?
You know, in performing. So I don't know. Well, let's see who they do next year. They'll probably do Taylor Swift.
You think so?
I'm surprised that she hasn't done it.
I wonder what goes into making that choice. Obviously, them accepting, but just like, you know, if there's like a wish list and then they put it out and then whoever says yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that especially in the last several years, it's who's popular at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It's who's popular at the moment, who's going to get, I mean, not that the Super Bowl needs help in ratings, but I mean.
Well, but who's going to keep people during the middle of the show?
Because there have been Super Bowls in the past where like the other specials have, you know.
Well, yeah, the year that In Living Color did their live episode during Super, this was eons ago. But yeah, it actually eroded the halftime.
That Rolling Stone list about Super Bowl performances, and you know, for those of you who haven't read it, go out and read it. It obviously came out this week. There's some comments that they made on there that are very true, because I do remember in like the early 2000s, the performance of like, that it was like Enrique Iglesias and Tony Braxton.
Yes, and Christina Aguilera.
And I was like super pumped. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then it was like, they're singing like ballads of like inspirational music that nobody's ever heard. Like,
right.
Why?
You missed the mark, kids.
Why?
It happens.
But, you know, we do you think that like Britney's and NSYNC and Aerosmith is up there and Mary and all that?
I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think yes, because especially at that moment, they were like top. And you had an interesting thing there where you had like that bridging of the generations, right? You had Aerosmith and then NSYNC and Britney, and then you also had Mary J. So you had the R&B. Like I love that performance.
I've always told you that when Justin Timberlake did the halftime show
a couple years back,
that everybody was like, "Oh my God, is he going to bring out Janet Jackson
or NSYNC?
And oh, is there going to be an NSYNC reunion?" And we were like, "No." If he brings out Britney Spears and like he starts singing like the first bars of, you hear the first bars of Cry Me a River, and then, you know,
she doesn't even have to do anything,
and she just comes out
just
and
has to show up,
says a few lines.
Right.
I think I told you this the other day. The axis of the earth would have shifted.
and then the aliens wouldn't have been able to find us. Yes. You see, Justin,
like after that Super Bowl halftime performance, like end them all. Like nothing is gonna top that. Like
call it a day. We're done. Go back to those children's choir things you used to do.
I mean, imagine following that up, you know, in terms of, even if the performance sucked, just for like the pop culture moment.
Oh, no, you're not going to have any resonance. Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. New year, new resolutions. Lose weight, improve your finances, try new hobbies. But what about resolving to improve your mental health? I mean, improving those other resolutions will probably go better if you start with your mental well-being, and BetterHelp can guide you on that path. A customized online therapy provider, BetterHelp has options via phone, video, text, or even live sessions with a certified therapist, all on your time. BetterHelp matches you with a therapist in under 48 hours based on your needs, helping you better understand yourself. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. Again, betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. We should start the new year improving ourselves, and BetterHelp can help you take the first step on that path. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
Oh, man. Oh, Lord. So I actually wanted to tell you about something that happened to me at Aldi the other day.
Oh.
Because I thought it was... Well, it didn't happen to me per se, but it happened in front of me. So...
I have stories, too.
All right, Dorothy. So whatever, I was at Aldi, I was buying some stuff for the pop-up, and so I get in line, and you know at Aldi, they have now, well, I don't know which one you've been to, but the one on here on 87th and Corway has a self-checkout bunch of stands. So you get in the line by like the freezers, and then you wait your turn, whatever. So I get in the line behind this one woman, in front of me, but she's kind of past where the aisle is. So she's closer to the self-checkout registers. And this other lady comes from the side and she just gets into like this other self-checkout register that had just opened up. And you could tell that she was just like, oh, lucky day. And she just kind of walked in there and she was about to start bringing her stuff. And then the other lady with a carrito says, excuse me, just so you know, I was the next person here in line, but it's okay. You can go. And the other lady was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, go. You should go. You should. And the lady was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. You go. You're being very passive aggressive, right? Bueno. And el para y pa'lante of her, no, you go, no, you,
somebody
no,
else
you.
went in.
Una vieja llegó y fue y she rang like 3 things and she left. But I say that not only because good for la vieja for being like, fuck this noise, but why? Like, I want to pose it to you. Like, why would you do that? Why would
if you're la vieja?
No, not la vieja. If you're the one with the carrito, the one who said like, excuse me, I was next in line, I'm here. To then turn around and be like, but you can go ahead. If the person was genuinely, like, you could tell she just didn't realize it. She wasn't being a bitch.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
She didn't turn around to the other one and be like, oh, I didn't see you. She was very like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No, go ahead. Why would you then be all like, no, you go. No, you go. Like, so then why did you bother even calling it out? That's my thing, is like...
Because you want to probably very purposely be the bigger person at that moment, even if it's not genuine.
I guess. I mean, the only other thing I could think of was that maybe she thought the other lady was going to be a bitch about it, and then she could turn it into a thing.
Did they say something to la vieja?
No, because by the time that they realized that la vieja, she had like tres cosas. She rang them up, she paid, and she left.
It's funny you mentioned that because I told you this story. I don't know if it ended up in the podcast, but not too long ago, I think it was like in December, I didn't have, but there was like a little snafu at the line at Aldi too. At Aldi. I was in line for some reason at my local Aldi. I don't know if they do this in all Aldis, that they have like the one line.
Yes, and then they disperse.
Right. I have mixed feelings about that one line, pero bueno. And in the Aldi I go to by my house, the line would start usually like where they have the home stuff and all those knickknacks.
Okay. Yeah.
But now it was starting over in the frozen food section. Who knows? So there was a confusion because if you are regular to that
you
store,
might be in one lane. Right.
And that happened to me several times that I was like, I would go straight to a cash register thinking, where the line was always... Where it always was, there's nobody there. So I'm going straight, there's nobody in line, only to realize that there was a huge line. But I was at Aldi's, and there was a guy that same exact thing happened to, probably like my age. And he had a little girl, his daughter, maybe
you did
2
tell
or
this
3
story.
years old.
Well, I know you told me.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years old in the little seat of the cart. And he went to the cash register, not realizing
the line.
There was a line of like 10 people. Y alante de mí había the instigator vieja, like that she was telling the man who was next in line, mira, ese se coló. ¿Quién se cree? Un descarado se coló. And she instigated the man so much that the man that was in line went and confronted the guy with the little girl and got the cart with the little girl in it and pushed it away. And I have to tell you that it was one of those situations where the father of the little girl handled himself very well because he was like, because my daughter's here,
I'm not going to kick your ass.
I'm not going to kick your ass, but I saw this happen. Él cogió el carrito and pushed it and it rolled away. And it's not like he missed the little girl because the little girl was sitting in the seat.
She was a toddler.
Right. It's not like she was, how sometimes kids are in the basket part and maybe you don't see them right away or it takes you a second. Y ese viejo hizo eso. I was like, un guapo de esto, anda por ahí zumbado siempre. This would have ended in tragedy.
All you need is to catch somebody on a bad day?
This would have ended in tragedy. Aquí hubiera volado no nada más las piñas, los mangos y los tomates. Aquí there would have been bullets flying, especially now in the world we live in.
Yep.
And that guy, se comportó de lo más bien. Apparently things... Aldi, if you're listening to this... You need to have a more cohesive... You know who is like... Have I told you about my Marshall's anxiety?
No.
Okay. So listeners, maybe some of you can relate to
Marshall's
this.
anxiety.
Do you go to Marshall's a lot or to Home Goods?
Not a lot, but I've been during the holidays.
I go to Marshall's and Home Goods a lot.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Marshall's siempre está lleno.
Yes.
Por lo menos the one by my house is always full. Pero full. Right? That sometimes I get there looking, I'm going to go and I'm like, I see the line and because in mine, the cash registers are right by the door. Right. I go in and I'm like, I'm not doing that line. And I just leave. And I don't even go look for what I went there for. So I get the Marshall's anxiety because you know that at Marshall's, you have one common line.
Right. And then they call you to the register.
And then register 2 is now open. Register 4 is now open. So what happens is that nowadays, since we're all on our phone, when we're in the front, right, and it's your turn to go.
Right.
If somebody is on their phone and for, a microsecond didn't run to
it's like being at the traffic light.
You have 20 people behind you. Hey!
Oye, la cuatro está abierta.
And it's like, oh my God. So when I'm approaching the front of the line, I start getting this anxiety that I put my phone in my pocket. I'm like...
You prepare.
I'm like, I need to be focused at the lights. Because 1 microsecond, if I take 1 microsecond, I'm going to have this slew of people coming at me. I don't want to be that person. So I'm like very focused. I'm there, waiting in line. Register number 7. Y para allá voy yo. I get anxiety. I struggle a little bit. And if I have a lot of things in my hand, I'm like, I make sure that I have them all nicely held. Porque si se me cae algo, I hold up the line. No. And yes.
You're not going to be that person.
Marshall's anxiety. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Porque la gente no está creyendo en nadie.
We should make that a shirt.
Marshall's anxiety.
I suffer from Marshall's anxiety.
Speaking of,
anxiety at Marshall's?
No, at, I don't know. Encounters at stores.
Okay.
So earlier this week, I was at 7-Eleven.
Oh.
I was getting my daily, no, not my daily, but I was getting pan de bono.
Well, it's not daily anymore.
7-Eleven makes some killer pan de bono.
Do you think it's all of them or just the one you go to?
Do you think that 7-Eleven
all of them,
in
all
Lexington,
of them here.
Kentucky
sorry.
that?
I meant all of them here in South Florida.
I don't know. But the one in Westchester does.
Okay.
And that's all we need.
Listen.
Their pan de bono, every time, I've told you this, every time I have a pan de bono, I think God made Colombia, and Colombia made pan de bono. Thank you, God, in Colombia. I think divine intervention. I'm like, something
humans
mortal
couldn't have just made this.
Something made by a mortal cannot be this delicious, right?
Right.
How the cheese is perfectly blended with the bread in a succulent, rich, yet light piece of bread. It's not oily, it's not sticky, but it tastes like delicious cheese. But where's the cheese, you ask? Oh, it's baked in.
It's in there.
Anyway.
You're having a moment.
So I was there with my pan de bono, and this lady comes in. This Americana comes in.
Okay.
I have to say Americana. And, in 7-Elevens, they have a lot of grab and goes.
Yes. That's their whole business model.
Yeah. And the lady comes in and that where they have the grab and goes for the pizza, they have the slice of pizza in the little pizza box.
Yes.
Like the triangular pizza box. And if it's not labeled, I guess you could tell because it has a window, but then you have to pull it out of the grab and go and really look at it.
Right.
And it's food. You don't want to get so touchy-feely with food you're not going to buy. And the lady comes in, La Americana, and she's like, yes, what flavor of pizza this is? And then, of course, the lady behind the counter, ay, mija, yo no sé. Yo eso lo hizo el que estaba antes de yo empecé ahora. Because it was 9, right? It was 9:15. So
in the morning?
Yes. So she probably had gotten her shift.
Okay.
Right, at 9. And she's like, ay, yo no sé qué tiene eso. Yo no sé qué tiene eso. Y eso lo hizo el que estaba delante de mí. Y yo no sé. Obviously, the lady at 7-Eleven understood what she was asking, but the Americana did not. She was like, excuse me, I just want to know, I can't tell.
And she's explaining to her.
I can't tell if this is Supreme or if it's pepperoni, but do you know what it is? Ay, yo no sé. And then the lady behind the counter said,
that's wonderful.
Ay, alguien dígale a esa mujer. Dígale a esa mujer que qué pizza es esa. So I politely went over. I'm like, ma'am, you want to know what flavor the pizza is? And I'm like, she's like, yeah, I just want to know if they have regular cheese. Right. And then I did.
So now you're interpreter.
Yeah. So I actually looked through the pizza. And the whole story, I was like, this, it's one of those which we often on the podcast here do. Only in Miami.
That's true.
Only in Dade.
Only in Dade.
Moments that it's how it was that sort of how we love Señora Cubana, older Señora Cubana attitude.
Right.
Like,
at the ones who work at the bakery.
Like, I'm here, but I'm not here. Oh, well, I actually, the one with the bakery. You were at my house the other day when I brought pastelitos.
Yes.
That I told you. I mean, I ordered a lot of pastelitos, and like, I realized that at the end of the day, Cuban bakeries, well, all bakeries, don't have as many baked goods up front because they're, an early thing. And when I went to that woman, I remember her name was Migdalia, and I went to that woman.
Of course it was.
And I'm like, sí, yo quiero 10 pastelitos de guayaba. And there was only like 4. She's like, bueno, quedan 4. And the other girl that was working there heard me and heard her answer. She goes, Migdi, hay más atrás. And she was like, oh, for the love of God, why did you... you just see the disgust in her face.
I have to walk 25 feet.
Oh. Espérate un momentico. Déjame traerte los 6 pastelitos que están atrás. You know me. I find humor in all of this.
Well, it's all content for us now.
So I'm like, I love this going on here. Because she was like quick. She was like, quedan 4. And then the other girl was like, no, quedan más atrás. And she was like, queda para un rayo. But what I'm saying is, like, these little moments of joy, I know we mention them here in the podcast a lot. These little moments of joy make me say, there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of bullshit going on here.
Yep.
But man, do I love this.
To quote someone who I think we can agree, has the occasional nuggets of joy, maybe a modern day philosopher. Sometimes true media is comforting.
I'm the one who said that.
Yes.
Yes. 3 episodes back when my dad was in the hospital. It was when my dad was in the hospital.
Yeah.
You're there, you're nervous, and you're all like, tense because you have a loved one in the hospital. Y cuando yo vi esa mujer, las dos mujeres involved in, classic textbook chumeria, I was like, this wouldn't happen in Dayton, Ohio.
No,
I sort of love this. I don't love it. It's not professional. Like, this shouldn't be happening.
Right.
If I was their supervisor, I would have to have a talk with them. But in the other hand...
But yeah, with all that said,
it's comforting fodder.
It's a little bit of a hug.
It's a little bit of a hug.
I'm not going to lie.
But I felt so bad for the Anglo woman. I was like, this woman was in a hurry. It was the morning at 7-Eleven.
She wanted a pizza.
She wanted a pizza, and, she, came across, old Cuban woman at a counter, for just her morning, her morning routine.
Breakfast.
And I'm like, this poor woman had a very common, reasonable question.
No.
La vieja was not having it.
No, la vieja was done. No. It was her morning.
And I'm like,
it was her morning, and she was not having it.
Yeah, so I don't know. So how is everybody? How's your drive going?
Wait, sorry. I had to blow a little cosita off of my phone here.
A little
cosita. Yeah, because I'm like, it's not dirt, but it was like an eyelash, maybe is what it was. I really couldn't tell.
So actually, did you have something you wanted to bring up? Because I have something I really wanted to bring up.
Bring it.
So
I'm a little light this week. So
there's this Instagram page called Secret Miami.
Yes, we follow them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to sort of call them out, but I'm also going to commend them too.
Okay. So you're whelmed.
I'm going to do what Eva Mendes says in her video. It's a constant criticize, complain.
Oh, okay.
No. What is this? She says, criticize, compliment, criticize, compliment, criticize, compliment. So Secret Miami people who run this Instagram page, if you're listening, take note.
All right. I'm sure some of them
So they, earlier this week, put one of these Instagram stories, or it was a reel.
Okay.
They put a reel that this is the type of shit that when you're a Miami native, and I don't know who runs this. Do we know who runs this account?
I don't.
We don't know who runs this account. We don't know if this is run by somebody local. We don't know if this is run by...
I love how you asked that because you know that we know who used to run Overheard Miami. So I feel like that's why you were like...
Well, but I don't know. You know more people than I do. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe this is run by somebody you worked with. I don't know.
No. As far as I know, no.
You're the media person, not me. I just talk. ¿Cómo se llama? So earlier this week, Secret Miami posted something on their reel that this is the type of shit that when you are a Miami native infuriates you, right? Infuriates you. They posted a reel.
Let me see.
Okay.
You don't have to put the
Read
music.
what it was.
You don't have to put the... Oh, I saw that. Yes, I saw
Did
that
you see
one.
my comment?
I did not.
Okay, so they put a reel of a beautiful, like, of a video
Like a penthouse
panning
view.
out of a balcony overlooking like Biscayne
ocean.
Bay and a beautiful high rise. And the reel read, what people think $1,600 in Miami looks like. Expectation
Versus reality.
Right. And it was one of those expectation versus reality
Right.
reels. So the first shot is, again, this beautiful sweeping shot of this floor to ceiling window apartment overlooking the bay in
Right.
Brickell, saying expectation, what people think $1,600 in Miami looks like. And then the video continues to what $1,600 actually buys you, the reality, which is like an efficiency.
Yeah, it's an efficiency.
Right?
Yeah.
And that really bothered me
How
because
so?
it bothered me because they put what people think in Miami, what people think in $1,600 Miami looks like.
Mhm.
I commented and it got a lot of traction because I got a lot of likes. I got 79 likes.
Okay.
I commented, not a single person that is from Miami thinks an apartment in Brickell with that view is $1,600. Not one.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Right? Because that's the type of thing that infuriates me. Nobody in Miami and South Florida, right, thinks that is worth $1,600. Nobody. Right. That's the type of bullshit that they post online. You know, I don't know if it's people from, you know, tech bros that just moved here that are trying to do these Instagram sites to appease, you know, people from up north, that whatever. Because, you know, the whole thing with a lot of people from New York is that, you know, rents there are so high.
Yeah, and then they come here and it's the same and you get better or cheaper.
Right, but it's all in
it's perspective.
It's perspective and it's in context, right?
You're also going to earn less.
Right, exactly. So nobody thinks that, I mean, even back in the day, $1,600 and
was not going to get you that.
$1,600 has never bought you that view in Miami. But then, so
I will say, I think I don't think they were talking to Miami people, even though it's called Secret Miami. I think they were saying like what people think when you say, "Oh, it cost me $1,600." You know, like out of towners, out of staters. I think that's the angle they were going. Right.
They were appeasing to out-of-towners, which is even more infuriating because it's simply not true. Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that. Not one person. So why would you put that? Right? So Secret Miami, boo. But they posted something today that I thought was actually really good. And I would have to think that this was curated either by somebody who is from here or was from here, or they just knocked it off, you know, Miami New Times.
They got lucky.
Or somewhere else. They put, ready to take a trip down memory lane? Businesses that no longer exist that Miamians can't help but miss.
Okay.
Right? And this really hit the mark. Number one. What do you think number one is? Businesses that no longer exist that Miamians miss. I think it's the most iconic thing of Florida that no longer exists.
So I'm going to go Burdines.
Burdines.
Okay.
You never forget Burdines.
Okay.
I will never. Every now and then I have a Freudian slip and I'm like, I'm going to Burdines.
I'm going to Burdines.
Well, you know that for years I was like, I'm not calling it Macy's.
Yes, I remember.
I'm not calling it that New York institution. I'm not calling it our Burdines till this day. My mom, and for listeners, for those of you who are from Florida, you know how beloved Burdines was. Till this day, my mom is like, como Burdines no había nada. Esa ropa de Macy's, esa ropa de pacotilla. Esa ropa es malísima. Like my mom does not like
She's
Macy's.
not having Macy's.
She does not
She's
like
not
Macy's.
having ink.
You know what was number two? So number one, Burdines. You know what was number two?
Number two, Miami, right?
Yes. It closed just a couple of years ago. Swensen's.
Oh, yes.
If you're local, you know exactly what we're talking. I feel that Swensen's was such an institution.
Swensen's is one of those things that I don't miss until I stop to think about it.
Oh, I miss it. I miss it because Swensen's was one of these places, and I mean, if you're local, you know what we're talking about. If you're not local, you don't know what Swensen is. So it was an old-fashioned ice cream parlor that it actually, the original is in San Francisco. And they obviously used to serve these like over the top sundaes and, like the 4-scoop sundaes, but they also had like these delicious sourdough sandwiches. And it was a great place. And the interior had these like Tiffany lamps and the tables were all like the old marble countertops. It was like an old fashioned
ice cream parlor.
Ice cream parlor that served great food. And you know what I loved about Swensen's is that I think like, okay, we all used to go as a group to Swensen's and have a great old time. I used to take my parents to Swensen's and they loved it. Yeah. Then I would take Tristan to Swensen's and he loved it. Like it was really a place that no matter what age you were in, you would enjoy Swensen's. Yeah. And to believe that we don't have that now. We don't have anything like it.
Well, it's because we don't have nice things.
Because the closest thing is Denny's, but Denny's is a chain.
But Denny's is Denny's.
So number 3 was Purdy Lounge.
Okay. Totally.
Number 4, I don't know this one, East Coast Fisheries.
No.
Number 5 was Omni International Mall. Now, Omni, I would give you Omni, but Omni closed a long time ago.
Well,
like in the 80s.
But it still could be
because I have like pictures at Omni Mall that I was like small. I was
the carousel.
Like, the carousel, of course. Then also in the list, we have Mansion Nightclub. I didn't realize Mansion had closed.
It's still there, but it's not Mansion.
Well, then it's not Mansion.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like the thing is that building has been 25 different things.
Right. Then Churchill's Pub.
Oh, well, that's recent. That's recent, like 3 weeks ago.
Then the next one, this goes near and dear to us. Castle Park Malibu Grand Prix. Catillito. Everybody who's local will know what we're talking about at Catillito.
I had many a birthday party there.
The next one, this one again hits right in the heart. Specs.
Oh, yeah.
The one next to Swensen's.
The one that, see,
what would we do in Swensen's when there was a wait? You would go to Specs. You would go to Specs.
Of course.
And then you'd buy something, and then you
went to eat your,
and then look
sandwich.
at the CD,
right?
And then the next one after Specs, Luria's.
Oh, because you've thought of everything.
Yeah, we miss Luria's.
That was Jose's first job.
Luria's,
yeah.
I remember my brother worked in Luria's too. It was like his third job. His first job was Extra, then Baskin and Robbins, and then Luria's. And I remember when he worked in Luria's, I mean, he was a teenager. He was like 19, 20 years old. My parents would be like, no, porque Dayan tiene tremendo trabajo en Luria. Like, he worked in the camera department. And it was such a like, oh my God, he has a great job.
That's back when like department stores were department stores.
Right. So era tremendo trabajo. Yeah. And then Eckerd Pharmacy.
Oh, gone but not forgotten.
Eckerd's.
As long as there's anybody who has a roll of film that's been developed somewhere in an attic,
Eckerd's will live on. Then this one, I don't know, the Electric Pickle.
Oh, Electric Pickle. That was in Wynwood area. Yes, I went there a couple times.
El Pepino Eléctrico.
Yeah, that closed a couple years ago on New Year's Eve.
And Richard's Department Store, I don't know.
No, I don't either.
But some of these were good. And this was posted by Secret Miami. So Secret Miami, boo for the first post, but yay for the second post.
Well, you can't hit everything out the park, I guess.
I miss Swensen's. Swensen's, I mean, a lot of those in that list were... I miss them for nostalgic reasons, like Burdine's. I mean, I loved Burdine's, but
Burdine's is only, I mean, compared to like a Swensen's.
So is it Burdine's or Burdine's? I say both.
Okay, now I'm thinking about it, so now I don't know which one I'm going to say.
Is it Burdine's or Burdine's?
I think it's Burdine's.
You don't think it's Burdine's?
It could be. It's like Caribbean and Caribbean.
Tomato, tomato.
Yes, exactly.
Potato, potato.
It's the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. Anyway, gone but not forgotten. Hey everyone, this is DJ, and if you listen to the show, you know how much we love Jupiña. The pineapple soda is refreshing and sweet, and Jupiña goes great with everything from a medianoche to a hot dog to even a rum or vodka. Whether diet or regular, Jupiña has been part of our heritage for over 120 years. From watching our abuelos drink Jupiña at every get-together to introducing the next generation to its distinctive taste, Jupiña is practically part of the familia, como un Juprimo maybe. Así next time that you need a cool, refreshing beverage, grab that distinctive orange can of Jupiña. After all, only Jupiña tiene puro sabor a piña.
Gone but not forgotten. So I think it may be soda time.
It is soda time.
All right. So do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first? All right. So my soda is actually going to go. It's one of my like weird ones. So I recently came upon an article. Because as you know, people can kind of suck. But I came upon this article about a mother who had a hilarious and quote-unquote dramatic response to someone assuming she was her mixed son's nanny.
Oh my God.
So it was a story written by somebody who was like on a subreddit, and and they were saying, so here's the story. I have a 1-year-old son called Rue with my boyfriend Sean. I'm North African and Sean is Asian. Our son happens to look like a carbon copy of him. We joke that my genes weren't used at all in the creation of this baby, so I'm aware he doesn't look like he's mine. I was at the grocery store picking up a few things when this woman came up and started a conversation with me. She was asking about Rue, how old he was, his name, things like that. Then she asked how long I'd been nannying for his parents. I assumed she thought that initially because I'm kind of young, and I know most people don't have kids as early as I did, so I told her I was actually his mother. She sort of frowned, looked between my baby and me, and she said, but he's Asian. She said the word Asian in a really weird tone, like she didn't like saying it. The mature thing probably would have been to tell her he's Asian because his dad is Asian and biracial people do in fact exist. But instead, I just gasped dramatically and went, oh my God, are you serious? I picked Rue up and held him at eye level while asking how he was able to pull the long con on me and hide his true identity for so long. He giggled, which made me laugh, and the lady looked bright red and very annoyed because people were looking right at us. She told me that she was just surprised because he doesn't look anything like me. And I replied that I was surprised too, obviously, because today's the first day I ever took in any of his ethnic features. Then she said I could have just answered the question she was obviously asking instead of making a scene. She walked off still looking pissed, and I finished getting what we needed and then left.
Wow.
I'm like, you know what? Good for her. Because in this day and age, like, what the hell do you care? You know what I mean? Like, who are you, stranger off the street?
You know, those are Karens.
Like, who are you to come off the street and just be like, oh, is that your kid? He doesn't look anything like you. And it's like, you know what? Good for this mother for not going the route of, like, getting pissed about it, right? Mm-hmm. But just being all like, what?
Really?
What? I need to. You've totally surprised me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm giving that lady my last Jupiña.
That is a good one. La gente son muy metida. Se meten en lo que no le importa.
Really?
Like, why would you say that?
Like, just go up and be like, oh, what a cute kid. That's it.
Yeah. Like,
move on.
Why would you say that?
Move on.
Good for her. So my last opinion is going to be short and simple, but I feel it's something that needs to just be acknowledged. We haven't really talked about here on the show about the earthquake in Syria and Turkey, but it's just been absolutely awful and devastating. And I mean, these type of disasters always are, but I mean, I think that nowadays with camera, everybody has a camera on them and all that. When you see this live,
or see it video,
unfiltered, exactly. It just takes a whole different take on it. So I just want to give a last opinion to all like these organizations that are out there helping the White Helmets, Doctors Without Borders, and countless all the other organizations that are out there helping. I know no organization is perfect, so don't come at me, because you know that's a thing now. Like now that's a thing now. When you talk about a charity,
organization X,
when you talk about a charity, then people are like, oh, but this charity did this and this and this and that. Well, I can't vet every charity, right? I'm just acknowledging charities and people helping, and groups that have gone out there and helped them, help that situation that they need all the help they can get. So I've been trying to find ways to see, just like we've done with other natural disasters, like we did with the hurricane in Fort Myers, to see how we can help as a podcast. But it's a little bit different, obviously, because this is not about sending supplies from the United States. It's more monetary, and I'm not going to ask people to give money. Nope, not touching anybody's money.
No, sir.
But just for people to be aware of what's going on there and seeing if there's any way they could help through, a drive out, maybe their work, their church, whatever, different things, because it's just awful what's going on there. And it's turning into a humanitarian crisis. There's still well, at this point it's like a rescue mission of that, but it completely obliterated the infrastructure. So when you have things like that, it's very hard to build from that. So just a hoping to all those people out there making a difference and helping. So Bueno, that wraps up our show.
Yes.
As always, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your jupiña. And thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yes.
And if you're local, come join us at Ping Pong Pollo this Saturday. We're going to be there a good chunk of the day.
Yeah, we're going to be there starting at 6 all the way till they close. And again, there's karaoke.
Yeah.
Chicken and karaoke.
Yeah.
And us.
Yeah. So
what more do you want?
What more do you want?
Oh,
so,
what more do you want? You want liquor? Well, they've got beer, wine, and mead.
Well, there you go. Anyway, everybody, have a great weekend.
Cuídense, mi gente. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lamleplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.